Today's lecture plan is like this. First, we will see the gate analysis, how the questions were asking and which subject more questions were asking. Afterwards, we'll go for the digital electronics concepts. So topics to be covered today is gate analysis first, analog and digital circuits, numbering systems and conversions, Boolean algebra, K-maps, basics, basic and universal gates, combination circuits and multiplexer. So in number systems, we will cover the especially the different number systems and conversions, and ones complement and twos complement, which is very important in this, ones complement and twos complement in the view of gate. And in Boolean algebra, the simplifications, and that too, they will ask the particular give the particular Boolean expression and they ask to simplify it. They probably one more questions you may get in this Boolean algebra. And K maps, very important. This will be useful in any of the concept to get the simplified expression. And if you are command over this K maps in the digital electronics, you may probably get good marks. Basic and universal gates and combination circuit. Among the combination circuits, there are full adder is there, full subtractor is there, half adder, half subtractor, multiplexer, demultiplexer, decoder, encoder, all were there. But among those, in every gate and exam, multiplexer is very important, and they are asking, they probably repeatedly ask the questions on multiplexer itself. So I'm covering the multiplexer in combination circuits. More focus on the multiplexer. So if you see the analysis of previous gate question papers, so I considered for this analysis gate 2020, gate 2019, and gate 2018. So you just see, so this is for a particular subject. This is for a particular subject. This is 2020, 19, and 2018. So as you know, gate will have 65 questions. Gate exam will have 65 questions. In that, 55 is subject specific. 55 questions will be subject specific, and 10 questions will be on general aptitude. So general aptitude and mathematics, on that 10 questions will come. So if you observe the this graph here, you just see, anyhow, the mathematics and general aptitude 15, this is for 15, and possibly this will be 10 marks. So 25 marks here only you will get. So rest of the 75 marks will be there in this rest of the subjects. And if you observe here, and you need to clear the gate, you need to focus on the first easier subjects, then go for the tougher subjects. So among these, so anyhow, digital electronics is number one, easier subjects. Next, control systems. But networks is also easy, but seeing the number of questions asked in the network analysis, so this is given next priority. And next, signals and systems is there, and electromagnetics is there, analog circuits is there. Next, EDC. But EDC, you just see, during 2019, there are around 16 marks. 16 marks were given for weightage is given for EDC. But we won't depend on always EDC, because there may be more tougher questions were possible in EDC. So that's why we will give the priority later to this. But anyhow, you need to cover the EDC also. But the thing is, we will give the first priority to the easier subjects first. Then only will go. And you just see the analog circuits and EDC. you just see both the subjects. There is a considerable weightage of almost 20 to 25 marks will be asked from this only. So keeping that in the view, uh, next priority will be given to analog circuits. So once you know some of the basics of EDC, you can easily solve the analog circuits. I can say analog circuits is a combination of EDC plus network analysis, a combination of EDC and network analysis will be analog circuits, I can say. So that's why digital electronics is first and control systems is second, networks third, analog circuits fourth. So we are planning to cover these four subjects first. Then you just see about to try to cover signals and systems. But recently we seen the weightage for the signals and systems is, you see, in 2020 almost 6 marks only. So in 2019 anyhow 10 marks it came, and seeing this and signals and systems, most of them will feel that it is somewhat uh, tougher. But if you properly link from one topic to another, mainly I can say in signals and systems, you can say system analysis and signal analysis. System analysis and signal analysis will be there. So while you analyzing a signal for with the help of Fourier series, Fourier transform, Laplace transform, and Jet transform, you will try to analyze the signals. So if you properly know the properties of one signal analysis, that is a Fourier series, so the extension of these concepts only, Fourier series concepts only, will come in Fourier transform, and the extension from some little bit change from Fourier transform will you will get Laplace transform and Jet transform. So if you properly know the Fourier series in signals and systems, I can say that there is nothing more tougher is there. We just the applying the concepts, the little bit change from one concept to another. Obviously Fourier series is used to for signal analysis. The same way system analysis also will be there, causal, non-causal, all those things. So like that you can feel that only the properties of signals, so many properties, linearity property, so many properties were there. All those properties for a Fourier series, if you know same properties modification only you will get in Fourier transform, Laplace transform, and Jet transform. That change, considering that change, if you try to cover, then it is very easier for you to cover this signals and systems also. So next I will give the priority for the signals and system. Fifth, you try to cover signals and systems, and some of the concepts I can say now I can give communication is the sixth priority. And communication, I can say it is a vast subject. It covers analog communication from your syllabus, and it will covers digital communication and some of the communication, some other communication concepts also. But among those, the more weightage in a digital, from the digital communication, information theory and random variables. So to cover this information theory and random variables, you need to know the mathematical concept, that is probability. If you know very well know about the probability, so you can easily score good marks in mathematics, and simultaneously you can score good marks in communication also. So like that, try to link the one topic to another. There is a more possibility that you will score good marks, but uh, we are focusing on try to clearing that. So if you know the probability, so whatever the main important concept, definitely damn sure every year if you properly cover information theory and random variables, definitely damn sure 2 questions, probably 3 to 4 marks you can easily score to get a command over it. So to get a command over it, you need to get a better know the probability in engineering mathematics. So engineering mathematics, damn sure 1 question, either it is 2 marks or 1 mark, so 2 marks here. So ultimately 4 marks from here and 2 marks from here. So almost if you try to cover like that sense, so you almost able to score 6 marks. So that's why the priority for this is 6. Then obviously I'll go for comparative EMTL, I'll go for EDC only, because already I cover some of the things you can cover from analog circuits. So then the basic concepts of this analog circuits will be covered in EDC. So try to cover. I can say material science. The EDC concepts are more related to material science. That's why the people will feel very difficult in the subject, and vast scope of asking the questions is possible here in the VDC. So I'm giving the 7th priority for this EDC, and next 8th. So what are the priority I'm talking about in the view of core subjects, and that too in electromagnetics. In electromagnetics, you can cover waveguides and transmission lines. I feel these are very easy, waveguides and transmission lines. So if any question is asked from these, you can easily score. Compared to the beginning analysis, Maxwell's equations, all those analyses. So if you can easily cover these waveguides and transmission lines, 2 chapters. So some of the marks from the electromagnetics also you can able to score. So this was the my analysis regarding GATE exam. And one more important, very important thing to be remembered regarding the GATE exam is more about the practice. It is more about the practice. You have to know some concept based related to that concept. You have to practice more and more on problems. So you have to concentrate on more practice. And you don't relate this. I'm giving the caution here itself. You don't relate this GATE with the IES preparation. Okay, people have thinking that if I prepare for GATE, I can clear the IES also. Indian Engineering Services I'm talking about. Please note the concept coverage for both GATE and IES is okay, but the approach to clear the each exam is different. GATE exam is problem oriented, and IES exam is theory oriented. They will ask more questions or theory oriented questions. So the approach to clear both exams is different. So now in the beginning itself you get a clarity whether I'm preparing for the GATE or IES. So GATE need a small basics, and the basics more practice. And you know that when you are writing the GATE exam, all will have 3 hours time. In that 3 hours time, all the concepts you need to hold off, and you have to be able to properly recall in that 3 hours exam duration. So for that you need more practice. Then only you can able to recall the particular concept in the exam, and you can able to properly answer that particular question. And you know very well known about this GATE exam will have a negative marking. So if 1 mark question, if you 1/3 of negative marking is there in this GATE exam, and the possible questions, this GATE exam is of multiple choice question type. Multiple choice question type means in that objective questions will be there, fill in the blanks kind of numerical answer type questions will be there. NAT, numerical answer type, means fill in the blanks. So, and in the objective type also there is a possibility of common data questions and linked questions. Common data questions means there is a particular data will be given, on the data the 1 or 2 questions will be asked. And linked question means there will be a linked question also. Linked question means 2 questions will be given on a particular concept. If you are able to solve first question, then only you can able to answer, then only you can able to answer a second question. The solution you got from the first question will be linked to the second question also. So that is the linked question. So these are the way the GATE questions will be asked. So I given the detailed analysis of each and every subject. You plan yourself which suits you. I feel you can at least cover this till for these 4 subjects. So then only think about anything else. So this is the gate analysis, and whatever I talked now, I put it in the here. So easy to cover. These are the subjects to cover. And one more thing I'll tell you, like if you cover this general aptitude, so you've seen previously almost the 25 marks. The people may be thinking that the gate exam is for those who are very proficient in the core subjects. No, you just observe here, almost 25 marks will be covered from mathematics and general aptitude. When you are preparing for the placements, so it is also useful for your placements and also gate exam. So almost 10 marks you can score here only from the in gate, and also that will be helpful for your placements also. And some of the core companies, when are coming, those for the core companies, they will definitely ask this digital electronics and some of the questions from network analysis and analog circuits also, some of the core companies, and some of the software companies also, for whether you are ECE or CSE or ISE, any student will need to have some good concepts, the good command over digital electronics. So these are the seven subjects you can cover easily, and these you can observe clearly, these are more of problem oriented subjects. These are. So next to cover T and AMT. So as I told you, communication to cover. If you have a probability concepts, then you can easily score in information theory and random variables. So starting with the now this is about my analysis regarding gate. Starting with the digital electronic concepts. So before starting, we are saying digital. We have to know about what is analog signal and what is digital signal. So analog signal means whatever the I am speaking, right, which is continuous in both amplitude and time. Means it can take any values in both amplitude domain in time, at any instant of time the signal will be defined. So if that is the case, that is analog signal. The same way digital signal, it is instead of continuous, the digital signal will be discrete both in amplitude. Value means amplitude here, both in amplitude and time. Means different at the digital signal is defined at particular instant of times only, and it can able to take only a particular amplitude, not the each and every voltage level. It can able to take a particular voltage level, like 0 volts and 5 volts, like that. So some of the examples for this is calculators and digital voltmeters. So you just see these two are examples for analog, these two are examples for digital. You see the waveform whatever I'm explaining here. So this is analog signal. It can take any value at any instant of time. So at any instant of time the signal value is defined. So you just see discrete means at this particular instant is fine. So but you just see here the signal value whether 0 or 1 we don't know. Same way here, at this particular instant of time the signal value is this or this we don't know. So that's why if an undefined thing is there, then we can say that that is the in time domain, that is discrete in nature. Same way the signal will take either this amplitude or this amplitude, particular amplitude only. Any either this amplitude, let us say this is 0 volts, this is 1 volt, and this is 2 volts. So between 1 and 2 volts the signal cannot be represented. So if that is the case, then we can say that that is digital signal. So what are the number systems? There are 4 number systems we are using in digital. So first, whatever the number system as a human being is decimal number system, right? This is also called as from childhood whatever you are learning is Hindu Arabic number system or integers, I can say. So whatever the number system we know is decimal number system. And other number systems are binary number system, octal number system, and hexadecimal number system. So decimal number system, deci, the name itself says that deci means 10, right? The number of unit digits in this is 10, that is starting from 0 to 9. The same way binary, the number of unit digits by right 2, the number of unit digits are 2, hence the base or radical of the particular number system is 2. So number of unit digits used in this binary number system is 0 and 1. And in octal number system, octa means 8. 8 represents the number of unit digits in the octal number system is 0 to 7. Same hexadecimal, the number of unit digits is from 0 to 9 and A to F, where A is usually represented with 10 in decimal number system, and F is usually represented with 15 in decimal number system. F is hexadecimal digit, that F is represented with 15 in decimal number system. So total number of unit digits in hexadecimal number system is 16, hence the radical of the hexadecimal number system is 16. So basically in this number system you have to know these three things very importantly: conversions, arithmetic operations, and complements. First we will see the conversions. So first conversion is from decimal to binary conversion. So I can say before starting to discuss these conversions, I can say there are only three types of conversions. I can say decimal to others. Two is other number system to decimal. This classification is based on uh, the procedure I am following. And three is octal to hexadecimal. So if once you know octal to hexadecimal conversion, the whatever the all conversions are there under this, you can able to understand. So mainly these three conversions I am discussing. So first one is decimal to others. So decimal to others means decimal to binary, decimal to octal, decimal to hexadecimal. So first I am discussing the decimal to binary. So if you want to convert the radical of this is 10 and you are converting decimal number to binary. So in this conversion there are two types again. In decimal to binary conversion, there are again two types of conversions for there. One is absolute value, means the procedure to follow for absolute number means integer is different from fraction. So there are two types of methods to be followed. This is method 1. This is for integers and this is for fractions when you are doing decimal to binary conversion. So first we will see absolute value conversion. So to convert 25 to binary, what is the procedure? You need to divide this 25 with the radic binary system radic 2. If you divide, you need to write here the quotient, and the remainder you need to write here, like that. After dividing 25 with 2, you need to write the quotient here and remainder here, like that. If you keep on doing till when you have to do, till the quotient has to be less than the radic, till the quotient has to be less than the radic. So I can stop here and I can consider from bottom to up, like this. So from bottom to up, if I can consider like this, but some of the textbooks will say will even continue to get 0 here. To get 0 here, you just see here. You can do previously like that or like this also. It is good practice that you stop till here only. So the quotient here you will get less than the radic. You get that and you can stop the conversion procedure. So if you consider from bottom to up, so when you are writing the equivalent in binary number, so whatever is bottom is there, that is the MSB most significant bit in binary number system, and whatever top is there, that is least significant bit in binary number system. So 25 can be written as 11001. So we see in decimal to binary conversion, for an absolute value. Now we will see the conversion procedure for fractional part. So if you want to convert 0.692 decimal number to uh, binary, so the procedure is like this. Here for integer you divided. So for a fraction you try to multiply with the radic which you want to convert to. I want to convert to binary, so I'm multiplying with 2. So multiply with 2 and write here the result. In that result, whichever is the integer part is there, try to write here integer part, and fraction part try to bring it right here, bring it here, and again multiply that fraction part with 2 and write the result here. So try to do for this procedure for 3 to 4 iterations. 3 to 4 iterations, because you just observe here the fraction part is not becoming 0. You need to do the conversion. If you want to convert the decimal fraction to binary fraction, you need to get here a 0 fraction, but usually most of the fractions you won't get it. So you can do till 3 to 4 iterations, that is more than enough. Or if you are getting prior only, then you can stop the conversion also. If the fraction part here is not becoming 0, then you can consider only 3 to 4 iterations. And while writing the final equivalent, you need to consider from top to bottom, where whatever is there here is MSB and bottom is there, that is LSB. So 1011. So 0.692 in decimal will have an equivalent of 1011. So I specified here only both the things so that you won't be confused. So if you practice more and more on this, you can get a clarity on this. This is decimal to binary conversion, both integer part and fraction part. So in coming discussions also, I'll say some of in the particular number system, I'll call it as the most significant digit also. Both are same only. This is most significant bit generally we'll use for binary number system. So for other number systems, we will use MSD. For octal number system and for hexadecimal number system, we will use MSD. Only it is most significant digit. So please don't confuse. So next conversion is decimal to octal. Same absolute value conversion and fraction value conversion. So I consider again same number I want to convert it to octal number system. Same, I will divide 25 with 8 and I will write the quotient here and remainder here. As the quotient is less than 8, I will stop here itself. I'll try to write the equivalent from bottom to up, where bottom number is the MSB and top number is the LSD. This is actually MSD and LSD it is. So 25 in decimal will have equivalent of 31. Same for fraction part conversion. Now we will multiply with, you want to convert this 0.23 to octal, so I will multiply with 8. Same procedure. So integer will write here, and fraction part once again you bring it here, multiply with 8 and keep on doing. So finally, when you're writing equivalent, 0.23 will have a from equivalent of 0.165. This is MSB, right? In resultant, when you're writing, this is MSD, this is LSD. This is rightmost one, leftmost one. This is MSD, this is LSD. So simultaneously, if you want, you can note down. I will tell you when to note down. These are the procedures. Just try to write the running notes, kind of, and we will solve after the end of this. We will solve a few problems also, so that you can able to easily understand. Next is the decimal to hexadecimal conversion. Convert 31 to hexadecimal. Same procedure. So 31 will have 1F is the resultant. So same, If I want to convert 0.65, you need to multiply with 16. You will get 10.4. But one thing to be understand is this: whatever the multiplication you are doing in your known system, but this conversion you need to do in hexadecimal number system. But we don't know the how the multiplication and all those things will happen in hexadecimal number system. First, we will try to do in our known system, that is decimal number system. So if you multiply it, you will get 10.4. But in that this 10 will have an equivalent a in the hexadecimal, so that's why you will write a. And 0.4 will multiply with 16, then you will get 6.4. So 6 we will write. So 0.65 will have an equivalent of, and again if you keep on doing 0.4, you will get here 0.4 multiplied by 16, 0.4 multiplied by 16, like that. For next the all the digits will get 66 only. That's why we have directly written 0.8666. This is about decimal to other number system conversion. Same procedure, right? Decimal to others means try to remember her integer, automatically fraction part will come. Try to remember for one thing, no need to remember for both. For integer conversion, decimal to others means you need to divide. You need to divide with the particular number system you are converting with that radic. So now others to decimal, that is second one. Second one, what I told previously, others to decimal. So before going to this, you just try to understand. Let us say if I given you the number 560 in decimal, how can you can able to write this? You can write 500 plus 60, right? If I take 566, let us say 60 plus 6. So each digit will have some positional value, right? This is 1st position, this is 10th position, this is 100th position, like 10 square, 10 power 1, 10 power 0. Same concept will apply when you are doing this others to decimal.
Sir, I think you're muted.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Did somebody respond?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Okay then. 1101.101. So each will have a positional value 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, like that. So will this will have a position value 2 power 3. So 1 multiplied by 2 power 3 This will have position value 1 multiplied by position value 2 power 2. This unit digit here will have a position value 2 power 2 square. So unit digit multiplied by positional value. So all this we need to add. Anyhow, this is 0. 0 multiplied by 2 power 1 will give you the, finally if you do this, will give you the, this 1 per fraction. The position value is 2 power minus 1, 2 power minus 2, 2 power minus 3. So finally, if you do the calculations, you will get a result of 13.625. This was taken from the Basic Electronics by UA Bakshi. Next is octal to decimal. Same procedure, 5632. I'm going a little bit faster here, as procedures are same. 5632, same procedure, multiplying each digit with the particular positional value. Finally, if you do the same procedure, you'll get 2970.6111328 in decimal. In hexadecimal, so here when I'm doing here, both integer part, fraction part will automatically covering. So I'm not showing here separately the integer part and fraction part. So if you do the same procedure in the hexadecimal, only the thing is radic will change, that only, right? Only radic will change. So when you're doing others to decimal, you need to remember what you need to remember. First multiply, then add. Then add. If you remember this, others to decimal, what you are doing is first multiply, then add. So it is easy for you to hexadecimal to octal. So that can be divided like this. First binary to octal and octal to binary we will see. The thing is octal different unique digits were 8, right, in octal. So to represent 8 different symbols, I can say you need 3 bits, right? 3 binary bits. If you consider 3 binary bits, total possible combinations are 2 power 3, total 8, right? 8. So with the help of 3-bit binary number, you can able to represent all the unit digits in the octal number system. So that's why whenever this is the given problem, for the given problem, from starting from wherever fraction part is there, towards this side and towards this side, try to segregate a 3 group digits, a group of 3 digits. So here this is the group, right? Group of 3 digits. Here this is group of 3 digits. Likewise, same from starting from this side to this side of 3. And you see, if here only 1 digit is there, without changing the value, you need to put the zeros here so that the fraction value won't change, right? Same way here in this last group, only 2 digits were there. Without changing the value, you can put 0 so that the value of the number won't be changed, right? So 0 1 0 will have 2 equivalent, and 5 5 3 1 0 0 is 4. So 255.34. Same octal to binary, if 125.62 is given, each octal digit is represented with 3-bit binary number. So hence one will have 001 001, 2 will have 010, 5 will have 101, 110, 010. But here these zeros won't have any significance, so you will get a result finally this. You just see here. So 1010101, 10101001, 0.11001. Here same. Only thing is this 0 will not have any significance. That's why. Same hexa binary to hexa and hexa to binary. Only thing here is the different unit digits were there in hexadecimal were 16. So each will need to have a different unique binary code, right? For that to represent, you need 4 binary bits. So total combination 2 power 4. Total possible combinations are, with the help of, if you consider 4-bit binary number, total possible combinations are 2 power 4. Hence, you can able to represent each unique digit in hexadecimal with the help of binary. So if you want to convert given number, same from this side to this side and from left to right, try to segregate 4 as a group. Like that, if you do, finally same 4 as a group. This side also 4 as a group. Then you will get, this is the equivalent. 1110 is the E, right? And 1010 is A. So you will get this equivalent. And hexa to binary, same, each digit will be represented with 4-bit binary equivalent. So you will get, this is the answer. So when you are doing now octal to hexadecimal, what you need to do? First you need to do octal to binary, then that binary number to hexadecimal. So that only I am telling. So when if you know how to do this, you automatically know these two. So with this, all the three conversions will be done. So first conversion is, and here this is octal to hexa and hexadecimal to octal. So only reverse process, right? Hexadecimal to binary, binary to octal. So in summary, what I am telling is, so what to finally the takeaways from number conversion is, first decimal to others. So when you are doing decimal to others, remember divide with whichever the number system you are for integer, right? For integer, divide. For integer, whichever the number system you are converting, with that radic you try to divide the decimal number. Second is others to decimal. What you need to do first? Multiply with the radic first and multiply each unit digit with the radic positional value and then add. So third one is octal to hexa or hexa to octal conversion. So here each octal digit is represented with 3-bit binary number. Each hexadecimal number is represented with 4-bit binary number. So this is the number conversion. And you see the binary operations. So among these number systems, so binary is more popularly used in digital circuits or any of the electronic components, or let us say microprocessor or microprocessor. The systems, the electronic systems will understand the binary zeros and ones, that is actually voltage levels. So that's why we first try to understand binary number system as a system understandable language is 0 to 1. In that we need to see binary addition, binary subtraction, binary multiplication and binary division. So anyhow among these you can you can go through multiplication and division later, but among these two are very important. So we'll try to see to understand the further concepts, this binary addition and subtraction has to be very well thoroughly understood. So we first will see binary addition, next binary subtraction, especially in this very important topic for in the point of view of the gate, one's complement and two's complement. We'll see this. So binary addition, if you try to see, you already know the decimal addition. How you will do decimal addition? If 51 plus 13, if you want to do, first you will add units position digits, you will add 3 1 4 4 5 and 1 6 64 in decimal. Same way you will do in other number system also. Same procedure, whatever the procedure you follow Same procedure will replicate in other number systems also. So starting from the unit digit and next position like that. So if you add 1 plus 1, you will get 0 with carry 1. 1 plus 1 is actually, if you do in decimal, it is 2. 2 will be represented in binary as 1 0. So this 0 will go here. This one will be carry. So 1 1 is 0, again 1, 1 1 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 0, again carry. So this only will come here. So that is like that you will do the addition. So that thing, if you put it in the table, but here we will discuss say 0 plus 0. If you have included carry here, that will confuse you. We will discuss this later. So same, and based on that, if you see the problems, you can later rewind back this video and you just see these problems. I'll just once again discuss this problem once again. So 1 1 is 0 with carry 1. 0 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 carry is 0 and again carry 1. 1 1 0 is 1 plus carry 1 is 0, again carry 1. 1 plus 1 is 0 with carry 1 with carry 1, but this 0 has to be added to this, right? 1 plus 1 is 0 with carry 1. This 1 plus 1 is 1 plus 1. This 1 plus 1 is 0 with carry 1, and this 0 has to be added to carry also, right? Here our previous carry is there. So 1 plus 0 with carry 1. 0 1 1 1 1 here. Next previous carry like this. So this, like this, you will do the binary addition. So you just later you do the addition of this operation, you do later. Then if you see the binary subtraction, I don't the sign magnitude method and other concepts which you do in the binary subtraction. I mainly focus on ones complement and twos complement only to give you the more clarity. I feel that what I'm doing here is a brief revision of what are the concepts you already know. So as you know, then we already seen in the till now, whatever we seen is
Sir, you got muted again.
you try to, there will be a significance for MSB in these number systems, in this ones complement and twos complement number system. If MSB is 0, the particular number is positive. If MSB is 1, the number represented in the ones complement method or twos complement method is negative number. So mainly remember this, if MSB is 1, it is negative number. So ones complement is to represent both positive and negative numbers. So if you want to find out a negative number equivalent, first you need to write a positive number in that number system, then find out one's complement to that. How you will find out one's complement? If a particular number is simply wherever 0 is there, make it 1. Wherever 1 is there, make it 0. 0 1. 0 1 is the one's complement of this number. Fine. But if you want to represent now minus 13 in one's complement method, first you need to write plus 13. So you just observe, you just try to understand, you know that till here this number, right, 1101 is the 13, you know, as the significance for MSB is there in ones complement, there will be always, if you represent 1101, that becomes negative number in a ones complement. But you want to represent plus 13, you need to put MSB as 0. Then only this number will be a valid. This number will be a valid positive number in ones complement method. Because in ones complement method, there is a significance for MSB is there. If MSB is 0, positive number. So now for a positive number equivalent, if for this positive number equivalent, if you find out ones complement, you will get a negative equivalent of that positive number. Negative equivalent of that positive number you will get. So for this, if you find out ones complement, 0, 0 is 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1 is 1, 0, 0, 1, 0. So this is the negative minus 13 equivalent in ones complement. But you don't need to remember negative equivalents of a particular number. You do reversing. Again, if you find out ones complement for this negative number, you will get plus 13 only, right? If you apply ones complement on plus 13, you will get minus 13. Then if you apply again ones complement on minus 13, you can able to get plus 13, right? That is only the funda, right? So if you again find out ones complement for this, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. Not only. So for a positive number, if you apply a ones complement, you will get a negative number. And if you apply ones complement on negative number, you will get a positive number in ones complement number system. All these applicable in a particular number system, that is ones complement number system. So if you want to represent the equivalents, let us say if you want to represent plus 7 in ones complement, you need to write 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. Same way. Now if you want to find out what is the equivalent for minus 7, what you will do? You will simply find out ones complement for plus 7. Then you will get minus 7. Same way, if you want minus 6 equivalent, you just find out for ones complement for this one, you will get automatically like this. So you can understand that if you from here, there is a mirror image, right? It is a mirror image kind of. So like that, positive numbers and negative numbers will be represented in ones complement method. So how we will do the solve the problems in this? With this, we will see. The method to do binary subtraction using ones complement method is take ones complement. Let us say if I want to do a minus b, what you are doing using ones complement method, you are trying to do a plus of minus b. So this minus b you are representing with the help of ones complement and doing the addition means this binary subtraction you are doing a form of addition with the help of ones complement method. So you so whichever, let us say here you are finding ones complement for the negative number, so that's why here taking ones complement for the negative number. Result is a plus ones complement of b, you will get a result. So if carry is generated means the result is positive. If carry is not generated means the result is in negative form. Result is a negative number represented in ones complement method. Let us try to do. I think all of us are carrying a pen and paper, I guess. So can you solve 5 minus 4? Can you solve do 5 minus 4 using ones complement method? What is the answer? Can somebody respond? Yeah. What is the answer? Yes, are you there?
1.
Yeah, what is the answer?
One, sir.
Same way, the procedure is like this, right? Plus 5 equivalent you will write. Minus 4 you will find out, you can try to represent in ones complement method as 1011. You try to add these two. Try to add 5 and this. So when you are doing addition, if you get a extra carry, that we are calling it as end around carry. So this end around carry you need to add to the result. You need to add this to the result. Then this is 001. Fine. If this is you understood very well, how we will do 4 minus 5 and what is the result? How we will do 4 minus 5? 4 I anyhow represent with 1 0 0 plus 5 to represent. First I need to get a minus 5 equivalent in one's complement. So plus 5 is 0 1 0 1. Or this if I find out one's complement, you'll get 1 0 1 0. So I need to add these two, right? 0 1 0 0 1 0 1 0. If I add 0 1 1 1, will this result is correct?
Complement it.
Yeah. So here you don't get any carry, right? Means the number is represented in one's complement form and the result is negative. That only you are expecting, right? You need to get actually minus 1 from decimal number system. Same we will try to do here. Again, one's complement if you find 0 0 0 1 and append negative sign here. This is the minus 1 equivalent and this is the actual. This is for, I can say, cross checking. Again you are doing one's complement here to cross check your result. That's it. So this is using one's complement. There are further problems were there, you just go through this later. So now after seeing the one's complement method, what are the disadvantage? Yeah, as there is a significance for MSB is there will be a plus 0 representation and minus 0 representation, which is not there in the conventional number system. So we need to, when if you are using one's complement, you always need to take care about plus 0 minus 0. One thing. And one more thing, when you are doing addition, you need to always think about the end around carry, whether if end around carry is coming or not. If it is coming, I need to add to the result like that. For that, one extra circuitry, you are using some circuitry for addition. If you are using one's complement method implementation in your circuitry, you need to add one more addition circuit to take care about this end around carry. So because of that disadvantage, so this is also applicable for sign magnitude method also. Anyhow, I'm not discussing here. To avoid these two disadvantages, we are going for 2's complement method. So what 2's complement method says? How you will find out 2's complement method? 1's complement plus 1 plus 1, where I need to add LSD, least significant digit. I need to add plus 1 to the LSD. Is used for both positive and negative numbers, and I'll try to show you how I can able to eliminate minus 0 equivalent. You just see here in the table, you see plus 0 minus plus 0 is this is minus 0 equivalent in one's complement. How I can able to eliminate that is a disadvantage in 2's complement. I'll just show you. Same procedure, only thing is if I want to represent minus 15 in 2's complement, I need to first write plus 15 and minus 15. I'll try to represent if I find 2's complement for plus 15, I will get minus 15 equivalent. How I will find 1 0 0 0 0 and 1 1. So you will get 1 0 0 0 1. Here only I will tell you the shortcut. Let us say this is the number. If I want to find out 2's complement for this, try to see from here wherever 1 comes, till there you stop. Still there you stop, and rest of the portion you apply 1's complement on that. So you will get directly 2's complement for that particular number. So rest of the portion I'll try to apply 1's complement. Wherever 1's are there, I'll make 0. Wherever 0 is there, I'll try to make 1 1 0 0 0 and 1. I'll repeat once again. When you are finding 2's complement for a particular number, try to see from this side of a particular number wherever 1 comes, till there you stop. Rest of the part you try to apply 1's complement on that. So you'll get directly 1's complement. You will get directly 2's complement equivalent without doing all these additions and all.
Sir, if the number is 14, then what will do?
1 4.
Yes, sir, 1 4. Like using this method, counting ones from right to left.
This method you will apply on binary only. Let us say 14. You first need to apply the binary. You need to convert this to binary number.
Yeah,
Plus
sir.
14.
So it will be 1 1 triple 1 0.
Triple 1. Yeah, triple 1 0.
So how can we apply this method as you used in 15? Like you counted 1 from right to left. So in starting it was 1.
Yeah. Right to left. So stop till here. Preserve that part. Rest of the part you apply. 1 0 0 1 0. This is the equivalent for minus 14. 1 0 0 1 0. Want? I think I didn't put it for 2's complement equivalent. You just check it out.
Okay, sir.
So this is correct only. You want, you just check it out later also. You'll get this equivalent only. The thing is, see from here, wherever 1 comes, till then you preserve. Till then you preserve. That same part will replicate in the result, and the rest of the part you'll apply. Rest of the part you apply 1's complement on that. So finally, you can directly get. Shortcuts are very helpful when you are solving. The time is matters there. Every minute is a matters in the exam. So better try to solve with the shortcuts so that you will get a confidence. With the shortcuts you need to practice, then only you will get a confidence. Ultimately, it's all about how much practice you are doing. So 2's complement number 11101. How you will represent? How you will find the number is represented in 2's complement form 1001. Its equivalent decimal number is. So obviously 1001. If you apply 2's complement on that, same whatever the concept I told, 0 1 1, preserving this one. Rest of the things I will apply. 1's complement. So 0 1 1, and this preserved one I will bring it here. So this is the 2's complement form, right? And as you know, if you are applying a 2's complement on a negative number, here you need to put a negative sign. This is minus 7. This is represented in 2's complement form. What is the decimal equivalent means? That is minus 7. Same way, number represented in 2's complement form as this one. So this we can say that same here again you got minus 7 only. This is a concept of sign extension. Let us say this is 1001, a 4-bit number. You want to convert this as a 5-bit number. You cannot put a 0 simply here. You may think that it won't change the number. As you know, the MSB is very, very important. If you put 0, that changes the entire number to negative number to positive. So you cannot put directly 0 like this. Instead, you need to do a sign extension. Sign extension means whatever is there at here, same will be copied to next higher bit. So sign extension means 1 1 0 0 1. The same way, if I want to let us say this number, the sign extension concept only applicable in ones complement or twos complement method only. So let us say this is the number represented in twos complement. If you want to sign extension, simply copy this to next higher bit. So like this, you can represent this 4-bit number as a 5-bit number. If this is the number, if you want to represent this 4-bit number in twos complement method as a 5-bit number, then simply extend this sign to next higher bits, like this 5 bits. If you want to 6 bits, one more one, like that. So this is the sign extension concept used in ones complement and twos complement method. So with the help of twos complement, and you just observe here, plus 0 is this. So if we apply a twos complement on this, what you will get is first I need to apply ones complement, right? Ones complement, all ones, next 1. So 0 0 0 0 with carry 1. You got this number in twos complement method. So what is this in? If you want to really know, you will again apply twos complement on this. What is this? This is the negative number. This is the negative
Sir, your
number.
voice is breaking too much.
Okay, I'll repeat once again. The thing is, I'm trying to prove that there is no minus 0 is there. If I try to find out twos complement for plus 0, you won't get minus 0. You will get instead ending up with getting minus 1 equivalent. So you just see all zeros 1 1 1. We find out twos complement for this again. Starting from here, preserving entire thing. So entire thing will come. And minus sign. So if you take twos complement for 0, you are getting some other number, not minus 0. So that's the thing. So again, same twos complement method. If you how you will do 5 minus 4. Again, in the twos complement method, when you are getting any end around carry, you need to discard that end around carry, and rest of the result will be there. Same for 4, you will find out same procedure 0 1 0 for this twos complement you will find. So preserving till here, rest of the part I am putting this, applying ones complement on. If 0 is there 1, 1 is there 0. So 1 1 0 0. So this number and this number I will add, you will get a result this. In the procedure, if we summarize what you are doing in twos complement, take twos complement of negative number, add both, result will get. If you are getting any carry, means the result is in positive number, and discard the end around carry. And if you are not getting any carry, means you are If I'm not getting any carry means the result is in negative form. So can you solve this? 28 minus 28 minus 19. Same 28 equivalent is this. Sorry, this is the 28 equivalent. So 19. See 8421. 8. The 19 equivalent positive number 19 is 10011. So 8421. And next position value is next unit digit position value is 2 power 4, that is 16. So 16 plus 2 plus 1. So 19. So this is the positive number. As it is representing in 2's complement, I am putting a 0 here. So for this, if you find out 2's complement, how will find out? Just preserve this rest of the thing. 1 0 1 1 0. Write it here. So this is the 2's complement. So he directly written that. So finally finding 2's complement, not this one. So this is the result. You just see 1 0 1 1 0 1. So you need to add this and this. So finally I'll do here 0 1 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 0 1. If you add 1 0 0 with carry 1 1 with carry 1 0 with carry 1 0 with carry 1, this is end around carry, discard this. This is the result. 9, right? 28 minus 19. So to get 9 is the result. So whatever the result is there is a positive number. Same. If you do for 19 minus 28, so you'll get a negative minus 9. So we just try check once. So with this we are completed the binary subtraction. So can you solve these problems? So Boolean algebra, some laws were there. If you are already remember the concepts of Boolean algebra, can you able to try to solve these questions? Can you try to solve these questions and tell me the answer? This is question 1 and question 2. These are the previous gate questions. Tell me the answer for this. Meanwhile, I'll just have a water. What is the answer for A? You remember your Boolean algebra concepts? Can you give me the answer for A? You just need to see, right? This is AB and this is BC. Like that, keep on solving. So here C is there, here AB is there. So this is ABC. So this is AB XOR BC. So this is finally ABC XOR, let us say this is some P. ABC XOR P. Solve. I'll answer for second. Minimum number of 2 input NAND gates required to implement a 2 input XOR. XOR expression, let us say A, B if I consider. Let us say if I'll consider here XY instead. X XOR Y. I want to implement this with the help of XY whole bar. I want to implement this with NAND. NAND expression is this, right? 2 input NAND. How you will say that how many number of NAND gates are required to implement XOR? If you remember, this is X, this is Y. Just check the output for this given circuitry so that you will get an answer for question 2. The session should be more interactive session. For that to happen, you need to solve some of the given things so that later you feel that you will solve, you can practice by yourself. That is my intention here in asking the again and again. Try to give any answer, either 1 or 2.
The second one is 4.
4. That's why I given already the circuit to you. Yeah, just see. Whatever I given the circuit, what is the below circuit I given? You are saying 4 or 7? Second one is what is the output here at point K? What is K equal to?
X XOR Y.
Yeah, X XOR Y. So the answer is A, 4. And this one? You just check it out later. The answer is C. You need to solve this. So instead of P, you write try to put here only AB XOR BC. Try to solve. So ABC dot AB bar. If we expand these two things, ABC dot AB bar plus ABC whole bar dot AB. Now this will be there XR. This is XR BC. We need to solve this, then only you'll be able to get the answer. And you just
Yes.
see this question is given for 1 mark in the gate, so you need to be how much quicker in solving. So for that to happen, you need to remember each and every theorem. So keeping this in mind, I'm going for the theorems. Yeah. What are the question is given is Boolean algebra. Boolean algebra is used when number of variables are less. At maximum 3 or 4 variables are there. For that only we'll apply Boolean algebra. Maximum 3, rare cases 4 variables also. But if 4 variable is there, it is very easy to apply K-maps and that. So Boolean algebra theorems, this is not A double bar will be A, and operation 0.0 is 0, 0.1 is 0, 1.0 is 0, 1.1 is 1. From this only and gate we came. This is and operator, and whatever and gate will implement and operation. Same A dot A is A dot 1 is A. How I am saying that this A dot 1 is A? Let us say for this to prove, you need to do, let us say A equal to 0, 0.1 is 0, right? Let us say A equal to 1, 1.1 is 1. So the output is directly dependent on A. Whatever A is there, that only output you are getting. That's why A dot A equal to A. Like that, rest of the things. A dot 0 equal to, if 0 is there, and operation defaultly output will be 0, right? And A complement, always you will get 0 only. A plus A, you will get A. A plus 0, if 0 is there, the output is dependent on during plus operation. If 0 is there, output depends on A. If A is 0, output is 0, A is 1, 1. That's why A plus 0 is A. Same way A plus 1 is 1. So these theorems, if you put it in a number of theorems, so property of 0 is A, that what we already discussed. Property of 1 or property of 0 already discussed. Commutative law, A plus B, commutative law, A plus B equal to B plus A. Both you can see here, both SOP and POS forms. Both SOP and POS forms. As you know, sum of products and product of sums. Both variations you can see here. So associative law, A plus B plus C equal to A plus B plus C. So next is the distributive law. Very, very important to be remembered to solve any of the Boolean expressions. And distributive law, if you expand, multiply AB plus AC. And this is fine, but try to remember this C thing thoroughly. How why this is important is, this is very important in solving the problems. This you can write A plus A bar. Remember this as a formula, that's why I given here. A plus A bar B is AB. How I can say that is AB? A plus A bar, if you apply distribution law on this, A plus A bar, A plus B, based on this is A plus B. So this will be becomes 1. So 1 dot A plus B. 1 dot A plus B is A plus B only. So that's why A plus A bar B is A plus B. Try to remember this as a law only. This result will help you a lot in solving the problems. Identity law, A plus A equal to A dot A equal to A. Absorption law, A plus AB. So again, if you apply a distributive law on this, A plus A and A plus B, or instead
PDF
you can common A. Instead of expanding, you can common A here. If you common A here, 1 plus B you will get. So 1 plus B is 1 here, so you will get A directly. Like that below also. Below you expand and try to solve it, and you will get same only. Next law is complementary law. X plus this also will help you a lot, and involution anyhow you will repeatedly use when you are implementing NAND logic and NOR logic. This involution will help you a lot. And De Morgan's law, very important. X plus y whole bar equal to, this is dot, is not, this is dot. X plus y whole bar equal to x bar dot y bar. Xy whole bar equal to x bar plus, means under this whole bar, if dot is there, dot will be converted to plus. Under this whole bar, if 0 is there, 0 will be converted to 1. 1 will be there, 1 will be converted to, means 0 bar is 1, 1 bar is 0, like that. So these are the theorems, and these are the problems we seen. So assuming that these theorems, I'll try to solve this. Can you tell me some of anybody? So this is problem 3, problem 4. Simplify and realize using logic gates. So how you will solve? So you just observe here, easier way. I can write this ABC 2 times, right? ABC plus ABC. So I write ABC bar, so that solving is easy for me. This ABC once again I will write. Is there any change in the expression if I do like this? Plus A bar BC. Then common from these two, AB. AB, you common it, C plus C bar you will get. Same way from this, if you common BC, you will get A plus A bar. You will get A plus A bar. So this will become 1, this will become 1, and you will get AB plus BC. So anyhow, logic gate implementation is not that much important. I feel that this is not a descriptive exam. So solved finally. Is there any further simplification is possible? You may think that sorry, I can write B plus A plus C. This is another way of representing. This is not a simplification. This is not a simplification. So and if you understood that, can you solve this 4 simultaneously with me? This expression is equivalent to what? So by seeing the options, I can see here never AC cannot be changed direct. AC is there anyhow here, fine. AC from first option 1, AC is there, but BC bar is there, and some other term will popped up. But you know the consensus theorem, right? Consensus theorem. AC plus A bar B plus BC will give you AC plus A bar B. Yes, check it out, this result later. This is consensus theorem. But for that to happen, You just observe this consensus theorem. One particular term complement will appear. Other two variables product term will be there. That product term will be eliminated in the result. So like that is not happening anything here. So I can say it is not following any consensus theorem. So I can't relate this result with this. So obviously that is ruled out. And here two variable expression, two product terms were there. Here two variable three were coming. Two variable product term can become a three variable product term if you use any of the Boolean postulates. But if you see here, same for the same two variable product terms are three were coming, so directly I can ruled out from that only B and C also. So remaining is this. So I can see AC I can see here A, C, and here also. Just observe. Meaning some expansion is happening, and BC bar and BC bar I can able to see. So I got some indication that D will be most probably the choice. But let me expand also if you want. I can say directly D is the answer, but I'll show you. So if you want to expand, so here remaining term is B, right? So if you want to put remaining term here, what I can do? I
B
can
plus
write AC into 1 I can write in as B plus B bar, right? Without changing the value. AC multiplied by 1 I can write B plus B bar plus same. Here also BC bar, A is remaining, so A plus A bar. So try to expand, you will get the D as an option. So D is the answer for this. See, so choice of elimination. So somehow if you know the concepts, then you can able to relate from one to another. For this you need practice.
Sir, can you tell in the previous question, can you tell how you eliminated B and C option again?
The thing is, you just see here, if you somehow whatever you do expansion, this is I can say canonical form, simplified form. If I try to do expansion, I'll definitely get a three variable product term. Here you see. So here you see, if I try to expand somehow, I'll definitely get a three variable product term. Three variable product term. So the three variable product term can be any number. So here I get 4, right? But if you see here, three variable product term only one there, and rest of the product terms will have only two variables. That is possible only with this consensus theorem. But this consensus theorem is not applicable here, because again this, see, consensus theorem you just try to see two three variable expression, the three variable expression having three product terms will become two product terms. That is only possible. But if you see, if you compare this and this, the three variable two product term becomes four product terms. So consensus theorem not applicable only here in the B and C option. Consensus theorem we don't need to think about it only here in B and C options because of that. And if you expand, you will get in a product term more than two variables will come, more than two variables will come in each product term. I'm saying is like this. If you expand that, you need to get, let me erase this. So you just see here, here two variables were there and two product terms were there. Two variables. Here are number of variables are three variables and two product terms were there here. And if you see in B and C option, that becomes 4 product terms, and that too in 3 product terms, 2 variable only there. That is not possible only if you do the simplification. These 2 product terms can become a 1 variable expression also. 1 variable action, let us say like a plus b, means each product term having 1 variable like that is possible. Or these product terms can be become ABC like this, 3 variable is possible. But the product term is having only here 2 product terms were there having 2 variables in each product term. Here 3 product term becomes 3 product term, so that is never possible. That's why I'm directly eliminating these 2. And here in B and C, there is no way possibility of applying consensus theorem because of this term. So I can directly eliminate this B and C options. Only possibility is A and D, but A is also not satisfying consensus theorem. So I am saying going for D. So if you are confident about consensus theorem, you know to do this also. This also you know to do. You can directly tick the D only because already rest of the options are eliminated. This is a options elimination method. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this problem. So we are almost came to the end of the lecture today. Today we'll complete the Boolean algebra. And in the next class, the very important topic in the digital electronics is kernel maps and multiplexer. And there is a very damn sure question in every year on the multiplexer. And this especially this multiplexer, the multiplexer topic is related with memories also, RAM and ROM. So this is very for any IITs. This is very fundamental question from any question to ask from the digital electronics. So can you give me the F expression for this? F expression. So if it is given, either you can go for SOP or POS, but it is recommended to go SOP expression. If you are finding, if you are going through SOP expression, you will only consider where the output is 1. Where the output is 1. Please try to note down these problems and try to solve and try to understand from your point of view also. So I'll first try to consider where the output is 1. For that, output is 1. Input combination I will see. Input combination is 0, 1, 1. So 0, 1, 1 is one input combination. The output is 1 and 1, 1, 0. So the variables are A, B, C like this. So when you're writing the expression for this 0, 1, 1 input, wherever 0 is there, for that I will write complement. A bar, B, C. This is A, B, C bar. These are the product terms for this output. So if you are writing final output, sum of products, right? All these products has to be added with a sum. So F is equal to A bar, BC plus AB, C bar. But you observe the options were there in the POS form. You observe the options, but the options were there in the POS form. So then I'll try to apply the whatever the methods I know. I'll try to convert this to POS form. I can common from this B. I common A bar C plus A C bar. Any option is matching. I can say this is B of A XOR C. Can anybody remember POS form of A XOR C? B A plus C multiplied by A bar plus C bar. I'm directly writing POS form of XOR. As a situation came, I will tell here only. Let us take A XOR B. Sorry. I will consider C only. A XOR C is equal to AC bar plus A bar C is a SOP expression, and POS is A plus C. You try to expand this A bar plus C bar. Try to expand A bar plus A bar C plus AC bar A bar AC bar A bar C plus CC bar. So this and this becomes 1. So finally you will get this only, right? So this is my answer. So B multiplied by A plus C, A bar C bar. This is the answer. Yeah. So it's I can say it's a mixing of the Boolean algebra and any of the combination circuit. How you will write the expression. If this is understood, the full adder, the half adder, multiplexer, demultiplexer is very easy. How to write from the truth table Boolean expression. So can you give me the answer for this? Let's say 5 and 6. So what are all the concepts you know? If you understood today's, then you can able to tell me the answer for this. Number of 2 input NAND gates, I can directly say by seeing the question itself.
Three gates, sir.
Yeah, obviously. Not only I can say AND OR logic. AND OR logic can be easily converted to NAND AND logic. I will show for that purpose only I have taken this problem. So AB, CD. So this is OR gate. So this is the final expression. Finally, you get AB plus CD here. So this is AND OR logic. To convert easily, AND OR logic can easily converted to NAND logic. So NAND logic means that A double bar concept I will use here. If I put two bubbles, that won't change the expression. 2 bubbles, and you just check it out. This is the alternative symbol for NAND only. This is NAND only. If I send these 2 bubbles to that side, the symbol will changes to like this. So this is easy for you to convert AND OR logic to NAND logic. Number of gates required are 3. So 6th problem. Try to look for the commonality. So here B C bar D, B C bar D is common. I think a few more options were missing here. I try to solve. C and D options are missing. Try to solve and give me the final expression. B bar C bar D I can write directly from this. Oh, and B D bar if I common. A C bar here, A bar C here, A XOR C you will get here. Means if XOR gate is coming, the simplification is difficult. Just think that. So now from this again B bar D bar common, that won't give you any simplification I feel. So it will stop here itself. So this is the answer for this. Next, I'll just briefly go and I'll complete today. I'll wind up the today's class. Hardly in coming 5 minutes, the class I will over because you already know this. What is AND gate? What is OR gate? All these things. So briefly revise. If AND gate is 0 0 is if you give both the inputs are high to the AND gate output to be high, the both the inputs has to be high. That has to be remembered. And OR gate, if any one of the input is high, the output will be defaultly high. The OR gate output is low only when both the inputs are 0. Not function reverse 1 0 0 1. And NAND functionality, AND plus NOT is an AND. So one thing to be remembered here is you just observe here, if any one of the input is 0, the output is 1 always. That has to be observed. Same NOR, if any one of the input is 1 for NOR gate, the output is 0. These things, if you remember, it will be very helpful for you solve in big problems. The thing is, nowadays, one thing I will tell you, the gate, the questions were advanced because all these concepts, whatever I discussed, becomes old to ask in the gate. But they will ask advanced concepts, but to solve those advanced concepts, all these basics is needed. It's not that directly you will solve the advanced concepts. You need all these basics. So with the help of all these basics only, you can solve the advanced concepts. So the questions will be definitely on the advanced concepts only, like Mealy-Moore missions or memory mapping. If you want to select a particular address line, how the input will be, like that will be asked. So remember, for NAND gate, if 0 is the one of the input, defaultly output is 1. For NOR gate, if the 1 is the one of the input, defaultly output is 0. So and exclusive OR gate. So this is exclusive OR gate. If both the inputs are different, then only the output will be high. So that's why we can say XOR gate as a inequality detector. And XNOR gate, if the both inputs are same, then only the output will be high. So that's why XNOR gate is equality detector. So De Morgan's law proof. De Morgan's law, two forms were there, right? One is SOP form and POS form. This is a POS form. So how will prove the De Morgan's law? AB. So AB whole bar is equal to A bar plus AB bar. You just see, you just check it out this later. For both the for all the input combinations, both the truth tables were same. Hence, I am saying that A dot B whole bar is equal to A bar plus B bar. This is theorem 1. Same theorem 2 is SOP. The second theorem is SOP. Same, you just observe this thing and this were same. Hence, this is proof. And the equivalent converting and OR logic to NAND and OR and logic to NAND, that will help you when you're basically these are more helpful for descriptive. I don't think so objective that much is helpful, but in the point of minimum number of gates during the time to decide, these concepts will be helpful. So OR and logic can be easily converted to NOR logic. Can easily be converted to NOR logic. So those things were discussed here. And NAND as a universal gate, how you can say that NAND as universal gate? That all you just proved here. That why you are saying that NAND as universal? Can anybody say why is NAND as universal?
It can be used to implement other gates.
To implement?
All other gates it can be used.
Yeah. So all other gates means if the NAND can able to implement NOT and OR, XOR, XNOR and NOR gate. Rest of all the gates, if NAND can able to implement, then I can say any Boolean expression can be implemented by the NAND gates. Hence, NAND is universal. And this is the main reason. And one more reason is there for this. When you are fabricating in VLSI technology, the first basic gates you will get is, if you see, if you are those who are final years, if you see in the VLSI subject, you first if you convert the transistors, you will get with the help of 4 transistors NAND logic. But if you want under OR logic, you need 6 transistors there. So you can understand from that the first logic gate you will get from the VLSI fabrication technology easily is NAND and NOR gates. Like that also we can say NAND and NOR is universal. So, but you remember first thing only, that's more than sufficient enough. So here proved that inverter, how you implement and OR gate. So and OR gate, we are saying that first level is and OR inverter. And how you will implement XOR gate with the help of NAND, this one. And XNOR, only thing is if you add one more NAND gate here. So now totally, can you tell me NAND gate when you are implementing not how many number of, remember that, not and or XOR XNOR. So how many number of NAND gates required? You know the numbers, right? 1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5. It is asked in the minimum number of gates required. You can remember simply numbers, right? Number of NAND gates required to implement XNOR is 5. Number of NAND gates required to OR gate is 3. 1, 2, 3 numbers, right? Same way, NOR, if you go, obviously this is 1, this is 3, 2, 5 and 4. So this table will help you out and ask, if the question is asked minimum number of gates in that thing, this table will help you a lot. Same thing, NOR implementation, who just showed here how we will implement. So how I am saying that with the help of NOR gate. So here you will get, with the help of 4 NOR gates, you will get XNOR operation. 5 NOR gates, you will get XOR operation. So with this, I'll stop today's discussion. So in tomorrow's class, in the next class, I will discuss about the K-maps.